There are different ways of winning a chess game. Sometimes you win a pawn here or there, and you have a material advantage. And then you try to trade down, because then in the end game you'll have a passed pawn that might be able to become a queen. But if during the course of a game the opportunity to attack the enemy king emerges, you should go on a king hunt. One of the features signaling this opportunity is when the knight is no longer defending the king pawn. As you see here, this pawn is only defended by the king. In your evaluation of the board, you should always look at what power moves are already available. And you see here that this pawn is pinned by the black bishop. It can't advance because the king would be put in check. It's black to move here, so I'd like you to take a moment and evaluate the board and go after the white king. Threaten to mate the king in one, which means your first move will be a preparation and the second move would be the execution. So pause the video. Remember that your evaluation should always consist of looking at what is already being attacked. We see that the pawn is already being attacked once by the queen, and all we need is a second attacker, which is what black does here. And now we have 2 against 1, and it will be mate on the next move if white doesn't defend this pawn again. This pawn can't advance, as we mentioned. Moving this pawn doesn't help. The queen can simply slide in and checkmate the king. So white needs another defender, and he puts the knight where it belongs, defending the h-pawn. And now the knight is tied down to defense. The king's sole defender is this knight. If it moves, the king will be checkmated. Things are looking really bad for white here. Black might consider removing the guard, one of the tactics, by bishop takes knight. But when the pawn recaptures, there would be a discovered defense on this pawn here by the queen. It would look something like this. And now the queen is defending the pawn, although there are ways of dealing with that as well. But that's not what black did in this game. He chose to make it more definitive by bringing another man into play. If we can move the queen off of this rank, then removing the guard would be very effective, because the queen would not be able to defend the h-pawn. So conduct a quick offensive power move evaluation and see if we can move the queen. It's very simple. Pause the video. Okay, you should have found rook here attacking the queen. Remember, the knight can't capture the rook because the queen could capture the pawn. The knight is the only defender of this pawn. So the queen has to run, and if the queen captures the rook, the pawn could capture and it'll be over for white as well that way. So white resigns. There's no way to prevent losing material or being checkmated. So when you have the enemy tied down to defense, keep adding another man into the attack until it's definitive